The Blue Protocol network test has finally ended. It had its fun and less fun part, and today I'm going to tell you all about how I feel about the game. Before I talk to you all about my journey, it is important to mention that everything that's currently in the game is subject to change. This was a Japanese network test after all. I cannot speak Japanese, therefore I had to rely on a random website to translate everything. It is also important to give a quick shout out to the Blue Protocol database Discord. A lot of times when I was stuck on a quest due to the language barrier, they were the ones who came in clutch for me, so if you wanna join a nice and cozy community that's super positive about the game, check out the description or the pinned comment of the video. My entire playthrough was with the Twin Striker class, which is basically your average berserker type of class. You are supposed to get close to your enemies, attack them, and roll away when trouble happens. Because of the limited time, I couldn't test out the other classes, however I found out that you can change your class just by equipping a different weapon in your main city, which is actually a pretty nice thing. You do get back to level 1 of course, but you can keep everything else. Both the city and the zones were capped about like 30 to 50 people, but if your PC cannot handle the amount of effects or players that you see, you can reuse both of them. I am a sucker for seeing multiple people, so I forced my PC to suffer the whole time. Only the main city had major lag spikes, and even those were uncommon, but I have heard that a few people had an awful time exploring around, so I'm not sure if this is just me or them. As I said, I cannot speak Japanese, so I couldn't understand the story that well, but watching thousands of animes comes with the perk of at least understanding what's going on. You meet Feste right at the beginning of the game, and it turns out that you lost your memories. Because she knows that she is adorable, she uses it for her advantage and makes you sign a contract, and you become her slave. And that's the story, more or less. Oh yeah, there's also time traveling. I do not want to judge the combat too much since I had to deal with playing on Japanese delay, but I do have to give credit to the developers. Of course there was a little bit of delay, but even with that in mind, the combat was amazing. Anything you do was rewarding. There are multiple ways of progression. There is the usual leveling experience with the level cap of 20. We don't know what the maximum amount of level is going to be on the live game, but for now, that's all we got. We also got an adventure board from level 1 to 4. I had some issues with understanding what to do, so I was a bit annoyed, but I can safely say that when the game gets released, this will teach you about how to play an MMO. From crafting a weapon to interacting with other people, you can find every type of challenge here. And this is where the problem starts. The idea of an adventure board is good. It guides you to do everything in the game. However, the order is messed up. At one point in the beta, I was told to go to the zone after the plains, where I had to do multiple objectives. However, the very last challenge of the fourth and last adventure level was to do the second dungeon, where you were already sent at the beginning of your journey multiple times. And this is just one example. This happened way too many times to the point where it started to become frustrating. It's not to say that I'm going to stop playing the game, it's not good enough of a reason, but it's got to the point where it's annoying enough that I can see it happening frequently. One could say that change up the order of how you do your challenges, but some of them don't even open up until you finish a certain amount of them, so the adventure board needs some work. And speaking of doing objectives, the quest items sometimes had awful RNG. There was a time when I had to farm out 20 rocks. I got like 13 in one row, but it took me 40 minutes to gather the last 7 rock because I just couldn't loot the right ore. And that's all where my frustration ends, because luckily, a day after recording this, the developers have confirmed that they are going to fix these. They really seem to be in touch with their audience. In one of their latest statements, they already told us that they are going to change up the adventure board and the RNG of the items, so that's already an amazing thing. As someone whose worries in his favorite mmorpg got ignored expansions after expansion, this is huge. Seeing that the developers are listening to the player base brings joy to me. Since I don't have all the time in my life, I'm not going to explain every single progression. This video would become at least an hour long, but in the following days I am going to make sure to explain everything based on my experience from the network test, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified. The zones were fine, I was mainly spending my time on the planes because anything higher than that needed you to be at least level 15. Of course you could enter the following zones too, but it took ages to kill something while you were underleveled and undergeared. Oh yeah, the gearing system, how could I forget? Gear score is the number value that's attached to your character. Currently every single armor is just for cosmetics, so if you wanted you could play the game naked the whole time. The only thing that increases your gear score are your weapons and imagines. Imagines have two types, a battle and an enchant imagine. Battle imagines basically summon certain creatures which can either buff you or attack your opponent, while enchant imagines are just socketed onto your character and give you passive stats. Earning everything in Blue Protocol could be done by killing creatures, doing quests or doing dungeons, but since the drop rates were not the best, the majority of your gear could be obtained through crafting. Dungeons and raids require gear score, so you cannot just ignore your gear progression. I have already made a video on how to get better gear score in Blue Protocol, so I would highly recommend you all to check out my latest video. Okay, here are the raids that I was the most interested about. So far, it's an absolute clusterfuck. Currently in the beta, raids could be played with about 40 people and you had to beat a huge dragon, which was a nightmare for melee classes. It was fun to play them, don't get me wrong, it even had some tactics, but it's certainly not something that I dream about doing on a melee character ever again. All in all, the entire game could be fun enough as it is if it released right now, but get this, you can hold hands with someone else. It might not sound like a big thing, but it is so rare in an MMO that you can do anything that's neutral with another player. Usually you can either kill that player or heal them. Therefore, I deem this game to have the highest award possible, which is fun. I genuinely got surprised by the game and I cannot wait until it actually gets a global release date. But tell me, what do you think about Blue Protocol so far? Do you like it? Have you had the chance to play the network test? If you've liked the video, please make sure to like it and tell me in the comments your opinion. I can guarantee you guys that I'm going to upload more Blue Protocol videos, so please make sure to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on any of my uploads. Thank you all for watching, I hope to see you all once again, stay safe, and until next time boys, peace!